Esteemed viewers, have you ever assumed that more health checkups always mean better care? What if I revealed that after a certain age, some of these tests could jeopardize your well-being, and you must not get them? It might sound surprising, even unsettling, but the reality is that not all screenings are safe havens. In fact, some common checkups pushed on seniors can spark false alarms, pile on stress, and even lead to risky procedures that do more harm than good. This isn't about spreading fear. It's a growing realization among doctors, especially for those caring for patients over 70. The medical field is shifting, recognizing that a one-size-fits-all approach to testing can backfire as we age. Our bodies change, our needs evolve, and what worked decades ago might not suit us now. In this video, we'll dive deep into 5 specific health checkups that seniors must not get after 70. We'll uncover why these tests are so often recommended, the hidden dangers they pose, sometimes overlooked, even by well-meaning professionals, and smarter alternatives that protect your health without unnecessary risks. You deserve care that honors your age, your body, and your peace of mind, tailored to the unique chapter of life you're in. If you're passionate about staying healthy yet wary of being over-tested, over-medicated, or overwhelmed by today's healthcare system, this video is your guide. We're here to arm you with knowledge, boost your confidence, and paint a clearer picture of what truly supports you after 70, empowering you to make choices that align with your goals, not just medical defaults. If this excites you, please comment 1 below. If it's a new perspective, drop a 0, and I'll refine our approach to better serve you. We're counting down from number 5 to number 1, so let's get started. Your health journey awaits, and it's a personal one worth exploring. What checkups must you not get after 70? Number 5 will open your eyes. Don't miss it. Subscribe now and hit the bell. Type 1 or 0. Let's hear your thoughts. Let's start with checkup number 5. A test you must not get after 70, the overuse of routine cardiac stress tests. For decades, the treadmill or chemical stress test has been a go-to for spotting heart issues, especially in older adults. The idea, push your heart and see how it holds up under pressure, a method designed to reveal hidden weaknesses like reduced blood flow. But after 70, this logic can turn risky, often catching seniors off guard with outcomes they didn't anticipate. What was a helpful tool in your 50s or 60s can become a questionable procedure, leading to more harm than benefit as your body's resilience shifts with age. The culprit: false positives, results suggesting a heart problem when your heart is likely fine. A misjudgment that can set off a chain of events with lasting consequences. As we age, our bodies transform naturally. Arteries stiffen due to years of wear from blood pressure fluctuations. Blood pressure varies more as vessels lose elasticity, and heart rhythms shift. Normal adaptations that stress tests misread as red flags, requiring immediate action. This can trigger a cascade angiograms to visualize blood flow with contrast dyes, catheterizations to explore further with invasive probes, even stents or bypass surgeries, each carrying real dangers like internal bleeding from puncture sites, kidney damage from dye toxicity, or sudden drops in blood pressure that can lead to fainting or shock. For seniors, recovery from these invasive steps grows tougher. Muscles weaken with reduced protein synthesis, healing slows due to a less efficient immune response, and complications like infections, prolonged fatigue, or blood clots multiply, turning a simple test into a health ordeal. Take Harold, a 76-year-old grandfather from Illinois. Feeling great walking daily with his grandkids, tending his garden with pride, he went for a routine physical where his doctor, out of an abundance of caution, ordered a stress test to check his heart's performance. A minor abnormality on the readout, a slight dip in electrical activity, led to a referral to a cardiologist for an angiogram. 3 weeks later, he underwent a catheterization and a stent was placed for non-urgent plaque buildup that his heart had been managing fine on its own. But the story didn't end there. Within a month, the blood thinners prescribed to prevent clotting caused internal bleeding in his stomach, landing him in the ICU for months, derailing his active life and forcing him to sell his garden tools. His vibrant routine dimmed. The emotional toll of losing his independence weighed heavily, and his family struggled to adapt to his new limitations. I've seen this pattern repeat. Patients like Mrs. Clara, 73, a former nurse, pushed into procedures that stole her energy, leaving her bedridden longer than expected, missing her weekly bridge games with friends. Leading cardiologists, including those from the American College of Cardiology, now advise against routine stress tests for asymptomatic seniors, as robust evidence from longitudinal studies shows no reduction in heart attacks or mortality rates, only increased risk of complications that erode quality of life. Instead, focus on walks to keep blood flowing and strengthen your legs, balanced meals rich in antioxidants like berries and nuts, and stress management techniques like deep breathing or meditation to calm your nervous system. True heart supporters that don't require a hospital visit. If you're over 70 and symptom-free, no chest pain, no shortness of breath, no unexplained fatigue, consider saying no to this test. Test it for yourself. Reflect on your daily energy, how you feel after a light walk, and whether you're thriving without invasive checks. If this resonates, comment 5 below and share your experience or concerns. Your voice matters. What checkup must you not get for your heart? Number 4 digs deeper into a colon challenge. Stay with me. Don't forget to like if you're learning something new. Moving to checkup number 4, a procedure you must not get after 70, the pitfalls of routine colonoscopies. Colon cancer's silent nature makes this test feel like a lifesaver, praised for years as a preventive cornerstone, catching precancerous polyps before they escalate. But here's the shift. After 70, especially beyond, the risks often outweigh the benefits for many seniors, a fact not always highlighted in routine recommendations from healthcare providers. The procedure demands full sedation to keep you comfortable during the scope's journey. But for older adults, anesthesia poses serious threats that linger longer than expected. Your liver, which metabolizes medications, slows with age due to reduced enzyme activity, and your brain grows more sensitive to sedatives, raising risks of postoperative cognitive dysfunction, lingering confusion, memory fog, or even mild delirium that can last weeks or months, disrupting your daily routines, like managing medications or driving. Then there's the bowel prep, drinking potent laxatives to flush your system completely, a process designed to give doctors a clear view. For seniors, this can dehydrate your body to dangerous levels, disrupt electrolytes critical for heart rhythm and muscle function, strain your kidneys, which may already be less efficient due to age-related decline, and leave you drained, both physically with shaky hands and emotionally with a sense of vulnerability. A misstep, like getting up too quickly after a bathroom trip, might mean dizziness or a fall more common than you'd think, especially for those living alone with no immediate help, turning a preventive measure into a hazard. Meet Eileen, a 78-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. With clean colonoscopies at 68 and 73 showing no issues, her doctor suggested another just to be safe at 78, citing updated guidelines and her family history of cancer decades ago. During the procedure, her colon perforated, a rare but severe complication where the intestinal wall is punctured, requiring emergency surgery with a lengthy recovery. Though she survived, her energy and independence faded, and she now relies on a walker, a change she never anticipated, missing her book club meetings and garden walks. I've counseled patients like Mr. Raj, 75, a former engineer from India who faced similar risks, losing vitality and confidence from routine tests that offered little gain, his hands trembling after prep. The benefit horizon matters. Polyps, those small growths, take 10–15 years to turn cancerous, a timeline often irrelevant past 70 with prior clean results. Yet the fear of what if drives unnecessary action fueled by medical caution. Watch for real symptoms like unexplained weight loss, persistent abdominal pain, or blood in your stool. Otherwise, non-invasive stool tests, simple kits you can use at home like the FIT test, may suffice, detecting blood or DNA markers without the ordeal, offering peace of mind with less risk. Reflect. Are you symptom-free? Have you had recent clean screenings? What's your comfort level with invasive procedures? Comment 4 if this shifts your view, and share if you've faced this dilemma or know someone who has. What checkup must you not get for your colon? Number 3 unveils a scan trap. Keep watching. Hit like if this is hitting home. Checkup number 3 is a seductive yet risky choice you must not get after 70. The annual full body scan mistake. The promise of a machine peering through you, catching every hidden issue before it festers, feels like proactive care, a modern marvel of technology promising control over your health. But for seniors over 70, this can become a curse, triggering a domino effect of fear, invasive tests, and unnecessary surgeries that might shorten your life rather than extend it, a trade-off few consider. Full-body CT scans and MRIs detect everything, harmless abnormalities included, like a net that catches too much, turning minor findings like a small nodule on your lung or a shadow on your liver into mental time bombs that haunt your days, keeping you awake at night with worry. A small spot sparks follow-ups, with specialists' biopsies, with needles probing your organs, and a parade of appointments chasing something that may never have impacted your health or lifespan. A chase that can feel relentless. After 70, your body responds differently to these interventions. A biopsy that was a quick outpatient procedure at 45 can now risk a collapsed lung from lung tissue damage, a stubborn infection from compromised immunity, or weeks of painful recovery with limited mobility. An MRI requiring you to lie still in a tight tube for 30–60 minutes can exhaust or cause pain in aged joints already creaking under daily use, like hips or knees, worn from years of activity. Meet Betty, a 78-year-old woman I met at a senior health seminar in New York. Vibrant walking daily with her dog along the park trails, she had no complaints until a health fair offered a discounted full body scan as a health gift. They found a tiny lesion on her kidney so small it hadn't caused any issues and likely never would. But the word lesion ignited panic in her and her family, who pressured her to act. Within a month, she underwent surgery to remove it, a decision made in haste. The aftermath was brutal months of recovery, with a surgical scar, a drop in energy that kept her off her walks, and a minor infection that never quite went away, all for something that might have remained silent forever, leaving her dog waiting by the door. I've seen cases like Mr. Ken, 77, a retired accountant from California, spirals into worry and financial strain from unneeded scans. His retirement savings dented by out-of-pocket costs for follow-ups. His quiet evenings replaced by doctor visits. This is overdiagnosis, a medical term for detecting conditions that won't harm you, but emotionally, it's unnecessary fear that robs your peace. Financially, it's a drain, as full body scans are rarely covered by insurance unless there's a clear, pressing reason like a diagnosed condition. Trust your body more. Listen to how you feel each morning, the strength in your steps, the clarity in your mind, not just what machines say. Consider asking your doctor about your specific risk factors, family history, lifestyle, before agreeing to a scan. Comment 3 if this holds value for you, and tell me if you've faced a similar scare or know someone who has. What checkup must you not get from a full-body scan? Number 2 is a colonoscopy trap. Don't look away. Share this with a friend if it's eye-opening. Checkup number 2 is a procedure you must not get after 70, the colonoscopy trap. Long hailed as a gold standard for preventing colon cancer, this test has saved countless lives in their 50s or 60s by catching problems early, a reputation built on early detection success stories. But after 70, especially without symptoms or a family history, it can quietly become more harmful than helpful, a shift that's hard to recognize without digging deeper into the data. What once protected your health can, past a certain point, invite unnecessary risk, emotional stress from uncertainty, and even hospitalization that disrupts your routine and drains your savings. Why? The procedure isn't minor. It involves full bowel prep to clear your system of waste, sedation to ease the discomfort of a scope inserted deep into your intestines, and a physical and chemical challenge that's taxing enough for a younger adult but amplified for older bodies with less reserve. The bowel cleansing process alone can cause severe dehydration, stripping your body of fluids critical for organ function, like your heart and brain, and electrolyte imbalances that affect your heart rhythm with irregular beats and muscle control with cramps, both particularly dangerous in seniors with less physiological buffer. The sedatives used during the procedure meant to relax you can linger longer in an aging body due to slower liver clearance, leading to prolonged confusion that muddles daily tasks, dizziness that increases fall risk on slippery bathroom floors, and an altered mental state that might persist for days, leaving you disoriented. But there's something even more concerning. Many older adults, especially over 75, are subjected to follow-up surgeries or treatments after a colonoscopy finds a small polyp, a growth that may never have caused harm in the first place, a finding that turns into a medical project. These slow-growing abnormalities often take 10 to 15 years to develop into anything serious, and for someone in their 70s or 80s, those years may never come into play due to natural lifespan limits. Yet the discovery creates fear, a ripple effect of procedures, biopsies with potential bleeding, repeat scopes with more sedation, even partial bowel removals, all in the name of prevention that can spiral out of control with complications. When the risks of these interventions, bleeding from biopsy sites, perforation requiring surgery, adverse drug reactions from anesthesia outweigh the benefit of catching a rare cancer prevention becomes harm. Here's an example I'll never forget. Take George, an 82-year-old friend of mine from Illinois, active and sharp as a tack, who loved woodworking in his garage, crafting chairs for his grandchildren. He was talked into getting a routine colonoscopy, even though he hadn't had any digestive issues or warning signs like blood in his stool. During the prep, he became severely dehydrated, his lips cracking and hands trembling as he struggled to keep up with the laxative doses. After the procedure, he was groggy and confused, fell at home that night while heading to the bathroom in the dark, and fractured his hip, an injury that led to months of rehab in a facility, mounting medical bills that strained his savings and a stress that aged him visibly. His workshop gathering dust. And guess what? The scope found nothing. No polyps, no cancer, just a healthy colon that didn't need the ordeal. This isn't about blaming doctors. They're doing what they were trained to do, following protocols set decades ago based on younger populations. But medicine is evolving, and we have to evolve with it, questioning whether the benefits justify the toll on our bodies and minds. If you're over 70 and not experiencing any symptoms, it's perfectly reasonable to say no to a colonoscopy. Discuss it with your doctor armed with this knowledge and your health history. There are non-invasive stool tests now, quick-at-home options like the FIT test, that detect hidden blood or abnormal cells without the physical strain, offering a gentler way to monitor. It's about weighing the true cost physically, with dehydration and falls that can break bones, emotionally, with fear and the burden of recovery, and financially, with hospital stays and follow-up care, against the likelihood of benefit, which diminishes with age and clean prior results. We must stop assuming more testing always equals better care. Because after 70, better care often means fewer interventions and more thoughtful, personalized choices that honor your health, not just medical habit or habituated caution. You're not neglecting your well-being by being cautious, you're honoring it with wisdom gained from years of living. Comment too if this changes your outlook, and let me know if you've had a similar experience to share or a question to ask. What checkup must you not get for your colon? Number 1. Probes your heart. Stay tuned. Subscribe if you're with me on this. Checkup number 1 is a procedure you must not get after 70, the overuse of cardiac stress tests. There's something about heart disease that makes it feel like a ticking time bomb. You hear stories of someone who seemed healthy one day, jogging or gardening, and then suddenly collapsed the next, leaving loved ones stunned and searching for answers. So it's only natural to want to catch any issues early, which is why cardiac stress tests, those treadmill or chemical tests that monitor your heart's response under pressure with electrodes and monitors, have become so common, especially among people over 70, a demographic seen as vulnerable. But here's the surprising truth for many seniors, especially those without any cardiac symptoms like chest pain, shortness of breath, or unexplained fatigue. These tests do more harm than good, a fact that's starting to reshape medical advice as evidence accumulates. The idea behind a stress test sounds reassuring. You walk on a treadmill at a controlled pace, they track your heartbeat with a web of wires, and if something looks off, like a slight dip in oxygen supply, they take action to prevent a crisis. A proactive stance that feels empowering. But the reality is more complicated. Most people over 70 already have age-related changes in their cardiovascular system, mild stiffness in the arteries from decades of blood flow wearing on vessel walls, a little plaque buildup that's stable and not obstructing, or a slower recovery time after exertion due to reduced cardiac output, none of which necessarily indicate an impending heart attack. But the stress test doesn't know that it just sees something unusual, a blip on the graph, which can trigger a cascade of fear and further testing that spirals beyond control, pulling you into a medical vortex. In that cascade, it can include angiograms to map your arteries with contrast that lights up the screen, catheterizations to explore blockages with a tube threaded through your veins, and, in some cases, even stent placements to prop open arteries or bypass surgeries to reroute blood flow, all of which come with real risks that aren't minor for seniors. We're talking about bleeding at the insertion site that requires transfusions, kidney injury from the contrast dye that taxes already aging filters, and dangerous drops in blood pressure that can lead to fainting, falls, or worse outcomes that hit harder as your body's healing capacity wanes with each passing decade. Surgeries become harder to bounce back from as your muscles lose mass and your immune system slows, and complications like post-operative infections from hospital exposure, blood clots from immobility, or prolonged fatigue that keeps you off your feet multiply with each intervention, turning a simple test into a health ordeal that can redefine your life. Let me tell you about Harold, a 76-year-old retired bus driver from Illinois. He had no chest pain, no shortness of breath, no unexplained fatigue, just a routine physical where his doctor, out of an abundance of caution and following a standard protocol, ordered a stress test to check his heart's performance under load. The results came back borderline, showing a slight irregularity in his heart's electrical pattern, and the next thing he knew, he was being referred to a cardiologist for an angiogram to get a closer look. Fast forward 3 weeks, he was undergoing an angioplasty to place a stent for a blockage that hadn't caused a single symptom. His heart was compensating fine on its own, pumping blood as needed. Within a month of the procedure, George developed a severe infection at the catheter site, a red, swollen area that wouldn't heal, landed in the ICU with a high fever and delirium, and spent the next 6 months in and out of rehab, his strength and spirit sapped by the ordeal. His quality of life has never fully recovered. He now uses a cane to shuffle around, misses driving his grandkids to school, and feels a shadow over his once joyful mornings. Now ask yourself, was that treadmill worth it? The truth is, many leading heart specialists and geriatric associations, like the American Geriatric Society, now recommend against routine stress tests in asymptomatic older adults based on decades of data from longitudinal studies that show no significant reduction in heart attacks or mortality rates among those without symptoms. Only an increased risk of complications that erode quality of life from hospital stays to lost mobility. That's especially true when your goal is not to live forever chasing every possible risk with scalpels and stents, but to live well, preserving your energy independence and comfort in the time you have left to enjoy. Psychologically, there's something very persuasive about the idea of checking your heart. It's the drumbeat of life, the center of who we are, the muscle that keeps us going. So naturally, we want to make sure it's healthy. A desire amplified by media stories of sudden cardiac events. But here's where wisdom comes in. Healthy aging isn't about chasing every tiny potential problem with machines and wires that beep and hum. It's about listening to your body, how you feel after a gentle walk in the park, the steadiness of your breath after a laugh with friends, the ease of climbing stairs, maintaining your independence with activities you love, and avoiding the kind of medical overreach that can take more than it gives, like months of recovery that could have been spent gardening or reading. That doesn't mean you should ignore your heart health, far from it, because it's the engine of your life. But instead of jumping onto the treadmill at your doctor's office, focus on the fundamentals. Daily walks to keep your circulation strong and your legs limber. Balanced meals with heart-healthy fats like omega-3s from salmon or flaxseed. Staying socially connected with friends or family to lift your spirits and reduce stress hormones. And managing your stress with practices like mindfulness to quiet your mind or gentle yoga to stretch your body. Those are the things that truly support your heart after 70, not tests designed for people half your age with different physiological needs. What we need more than anything in this season of life is discernment, the courage to say no to something just because it's available on a checklist, the wisdom to understand that not every test is a gift wrapped in good intentions, and sometimes declining a test is the most life-affirming decision you can make for yourself and your loved ones, preserving your vitality for the moments that matter. Comment 1 if this inspires you, and tell me one way you'll prioritize your heart health today. Maybe a walk, a healthy meal, or a chat with a friend. What checkup must you not get for your heart? Conclusion empowers you. Don't leave yet. Share your story in the comments. Esteemed viewers, what we've explored isn't just a checklist. It's a reflection of your life, your strength, and the wisdom you've earned through every year you've lived, every challenge you've overcome, every joy you've celebrated. Many believe that after 70, the path to health lies in more checkups, more screenings, more pills, a relentless pursuit of perfection that fills calendars with appointments and wallets with bills. But sometimes the bravest choice is doing less, not out of neglect or resignation, but out of a deep care for the life you've built, a life rich with memories and potential. Medicine evolves, and so must we, questioning a system that often chases disease, counting every shadow on a scan, every blip on a monitor, over-honoring the well-being, the laughter shared over dinner, the quiet moments of reflection that define your days and give them meaning. If this video made you pause and rethink, if it gave you a new lens to see your health through, not as a series of tests to endure, but as a balance of joy and caution, a dance between living fully and living wisely, then it's already done its job. You're not helpless. Growing older doesn't mean growing passive or surrendering to a conveyor belt of medical procedures. It's the time in life when you're finally wise enough to question the system, to slow down and ask, is this really for me? With the confidence of someone who's seen decades pass. It's about prioritizing mobility so you can still dance at your grandchild's wedding, feel the grass under your feet, have mental clarity to enjoy a good book or solve a puzzle, and emotional connection to share stories with friends over tea or family around the table. Saying no to certain tests doesn't mean you're ignoring your health, it means you're being deliberate, weighing the benefit, perhaps a marginal extension of years, against the odds, against the burdened months of recovery that sap your strength, financial strain that empties your savings, or lost vitality that dims your spirit. You're recognizing that not every test leads to clarity, a clear path forward. Some lead straight into the maze of overdiagnosis, where the cure becomes the illness, where the pursuit of health undermines the very life it aims to protect. If this video struck a chord, share one thing you learned today. Maybe the risk of a stress test, the gentleness of a stool test, the power of a walk, and how you plan to use it in your life. Whether it's skipping a test, starting a new habit, or talking to your doctor with new questions. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them in the comments below. Each story, each insight helps us grow and refine what we offer. Reading your experiences gives us great motivation and encouragement to keep creating content that informs and inspires a community effort to navigate this journey together. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like it to show your support. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any future videos filled with wisdom, and share it with someone over 70. Your mother who worries about every ache. Your friend who trusts every doctor's word. Your neighbor who's facing these choices. Because this knowledge can change lives, spark conversations, and shift perspectives. Your support helps us continue crafting good content to guide and uplift you, a mission driven by your engagement. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you, to learn from you, to walk this path with you. Stay informed, stay wise, and live fully. Until next time, ready to take charge of your health? Type in control and join this movement.